Hello, this is Mediocrity 4, giving you a quick update before the podcast starts. I might be losing my computer, don't know quite yet, but it's something that's requiring me to take legal action against someone. And because of that, part of the podcast might be lost forever. We had 3 people recording. Robert and I were recording at first, and then we switched over to Fat Man when Robert's internet cut out. And that is why there's going to be part 1 and part 2, because I am having to kind of throw this together with a janky laptop to the best of my abilities. So part 1 is Robert's recording, part 2 will be Fat Man's recording, and if by some miracle I get my computer back, there will be part 1.5, which is the stuff that was only on my computer, and then there'll be I'll stitch all 3 parts together to one major big podcast. So without further ado, here's our episode ranking podcast.
Dude, what the heck? Back again to rant about why there was no Renora in Volume 5 and why Volume 5 was just garbage overall. I promise I will not stop beating this dead horse.
And I was just starting... Oh, sorry.
You can go first.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
I'm the guest. I'll go last.
Okay, and I was just starting to give fucks again until the recent announcement that they are going to be bringing back the fan service characters, and that they're probably going to be bringing back the fan service characters this next volume. I am Robert.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it was at PAX.
We had a tirade about that last night.
Alright, I'm gonna mute myself for a second, because otherwise I'm just gonna fucking run over Fat Man's intro.
By the way, Fat Man's here.
Yes, and I am here, Fatmanfalling, the guy who totally fell for the Neo spin-off April Fool's gag.
Oh.
Yeah, Senpai noticed us. So
a man can dream.
Maybe she would be a better Nomad of Nowhere than Nomad of Nowhere.
That's my firmly held belief.
I haven't even bothered watching that show.
I watched like 1.5 episodes.
This is like how much how apathetic I've been. Is I haven't watched a single episode of the new volume of Chibi.
So,
or Nomad of Nowhere, or anything. I mean, I watched more of, what was that shitty show that the guys from the California office did? That terrible music show.
Sex Swing?
Sex Swing. That shit was fucking garbage, and I watched more of that than I have watched Nomad of Nowhere. That's how apathetic I am right now. Because Sex Swing came out after Volume 4.
Hey, I like the Funhouse guys. I was with them whenever they're still at the cinema.
Anyway, we should probably get started on this.
Yeah, because we got a ways to go, right?
What we did.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we have 60 episodes to talk about.
Okay, so
what we did is we each, except for High Powered, because he's lazy, we all made.
Hey, I'm doing a very hard job of moderating here. Okay.
And drinking. Don't forget drinking.
We all ranked a long, tedious, agonizing process to rewatch all of RWBY again. Especially for those of us who make videos and have rewatched it multiple times. But
I think I lost you there, Media.
at the very bottom of the entire thing was volume
Downfall.
5.
I think it was Downfall. Yeah.
Episode 13, Downfall.
Yeah. The bottom one was Downfall, which was an episode that we have all ranted about at great length already.
Yep.
It actively kind of destroyed any hope that there were gonna be any kind of threat to the characters.
Yeah. Everything, all the good work that they did, starting in Volume 3, where there was actually consequence in the show, and there was things to actually fear, and you had to worry about your characters and had to actually care about anything, that's all gone now.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, basically, wasted Adam. It wasted Hazel, made Hazel look like a scrub. It's like Hazel's semblance does not explain how he survived that hole in his chest. Like,
if there's any character that did not deserve an easy victory by sidestepping into a sword, it was
Blake.
It was the train wreck that is Blake Bella fucking Donna.
Yeah.
She dodged
Kitty.
She has not. I've been ranting about. I've been as everybody besides Fatman probably knows. I've been ranting about this bitch for most of our podcasts, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna do my best to not rant about her too much. But Adam's an asshole. But he just didn't deserve that. She did not deserve to beat him like that at all. If anything, Yang would have deserved that. But nerfing him like that after he was so scary and so frightening and such a presence, like, it's unforgivable. Like, that's not what smart people want to see.
Yeah. It was basically just Miles and Carrie doing what appealing to the lowest common denominator, essentially. It's like, I don't know. The only thing I didn't absolutely hate about this episode was, Cinder and Raven's fight was pretty cool, but also Jaune's the clarification on Jaune's semblance. But those were very little things. Everything else was terrible. Nora beating on Hazel the way she did after Tyrion had blocked essentially the same thing with his tail was just
they
sucked.
got the threat levels wrong.
Yeah. You think?
And I was the one who was always saying that Hazel was the most dangerous out of the group, and now I'm just.
Yep, you were saying that.
He's just a big softy.
Yeah, this is
he stands there. He stabs the fire crystals into his arms and charges up, and then just stands there.
Yeah, and then apparently drops his aura while he's standing there with his back to his enemies, so that Weiss can stab him.
No.
And then Blake has more invincibility frames than a fucking character in Bloodborne.
She's maxed out her adaptability. That's her stat dump.
And then everyone's still arguing about John's semblance, and I'm like, he's just buffering Weiss's aura. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, I pointed this out a little while ago that the fact that aura has been so vaguely defined that people actually does make it slightly possible that he's not, but it does actually make it slightly possible that he is actually just using his aura, that it's not actually his semblance, because that is how badly Miles and Carrie have portrayed aura.
I don't know what it is anymore. And I also, the point is I don't care anymore now either. That's the other thing. So, it's very telling that an episode that had the Cinder and Raven fight, which as a fight scene, it actually was one of the better ones.
Hold up a second. We're blurring together episodes 13 and 14. The Raven fight happened. Raven fight happened in 14.
No, it did.
No, it happened in this episode.
Oh, it happened in 13. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
it did.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I feel dumb now.
Yeah, that's okay.
I have the episodes open.
Hey guys, guess who's the guy who didn't make a list?
The Make-A-List Foundation.
Yeah, that's okay.
But no, and that's the thing about this episode, though. It's this was, Fatman had it the highest, and he had it at 51, which is still crazy low, right? So
I had it the highest. I had other episodes lower,
and that's still really.
Or you had it the highest out of all of us. But
out of all of us, yeah.
Not the highest on the list, no.
Yeah, no. God, no. Sorry, I meant comparatively. He had it the highest out of all of us.
I had it above Players and Paces.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Media's at 55, Fatman's at 51. Robert and Dude are both sharing the rock bottom at a solid 60.
Yeah. And the fact that it had that actually pretty good fight scene in it, and it was still this low rated by us, shows just how important everything else was and how terrible it all is. And that's kind of the thing.
I mean, the main reason it's low on for me is that Raven straight up fucking says that your arm doesn't have aura, but then never attacks.
I remember that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yes,
She doesn't use that.
Yeah,
I watched that. Yep.
The only thing,
her shoes, and then didn't do anything about her arm.
Yeah.
It didn't.
I just look forward to Cinder becoming an eldritch tentacle monster by the end of this series.
And the other thing that makes that terrible was like one of my favorite episodes of this show was Volume 4, Episode 4, Family, where they have the Crow and Raven discussion, which I thought was one of the best scenes they've done in the show. And it really...
Don't you mean playing the pronoun game?
And it really hyped up Raven, though. Like, you made it seem like she was the smart, clever one. You didn't really know what she was going to do. And then just like Adam, that all got nerfed to fucking Kingdom Come in this episode.
Raven, Lionheart, and Adam, they all, like, could have potentially gone somewhere, and this volume just killed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, just killed whatever potential they had. Yeah.
Raven's like, I failed as a bandit leader. I guess I'll go back to being a housewife now.
Because like that's in the stinger scene for episode 14 when she like shows up at Ty's place.
It tells him, "Take me against our conception tree again."
Oh God, that's. Have you heard? That's my my shitty fanfic. My shitty headcanon is that
that tree that Ty Anyway.
Yang was conceived at the big tree by the trading circle. But
wait, they
anyway.
I think that more like they had to get married. Like it was like a shotgun wedding.
Oh yeah,
maybe yeah.
That's a good.
Yeah.
And then they got married.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next episode is
next is
Rest and Resolution.
Rest and Resolutions, which was Volume 5, Episode 7.
A whole lot of nothing.
It's literally the Thanksgiving special episode that we never wanted.
It's okay. Media has just watched Dragon Maid. Does this episode not feel like a terrible attempt at the holiday season episodes that they did of Dragon Maid, where they're all sitting underneath
a little bit, yeah.
Underneath the kotatsu, yeah.
Yes. That's what this felt like to me, except for not in the same show and not even as good of a show. And not as compellingly done, and not as fun. It just, Like, why? I feel like they had to have that anime episode where they just sit around and talk.
For the first 4 minutes, it feels like a bad version of that episode.
Yeah.
And
then Ren opens his mouth.
Ren opens his mouth, and it gets worse from there.
And then Ozpin opens his mouth and basically tells us, "I'm a fucking idiot because I gave up immense power with no way of making sure it went to people that would actually help me for no reason."
To turn,
did I ever
turn
say
a pair of bandit kids into fucking birds?
Yeah,
that too.
I don't know if I ever mentioned this in a video that I posted on my channel, but I'm under the theory that, because Ozpin changes hosts every time he dies.
Yeah.
And I'm under the theory that Ozpin is not the good guy in this situation. I've always sort of been under that impression.
We've discussed this. We've discussed this very thoroughly. So
I'm under the impression that whoever the wizard host of Ozpin was, even though like Ozpin is just the name of the last guy.
Yeah.
It fucking Miles and Carrie ruining everything they try to write. But whoever the wizard host was knew Ozpin was a bad guy, so he stayed reclusive. And then at the end of his life, he just gave away the majority of his power so that Ozpin was weak, like too weak to do anything.
That's like finger. Yeah, that's like the only
I like that.
Yeah, that's really the only way they can that's the only way they can salvage it. Is if that is the case, because that's the only way it would make sense. If like
clever to be true.
Yeah, that's the problem there. But yeah, it's like
and that's all wishful thinking, which pisses me off even more.
Well, that's the thing. I can't imagine Miles and Carrie
being that smart.
Or like adding that level of moral ambiguity to the thing.
Yes.
Like RWBY is following a bad guy. Because like even when they tried to do that with Hazel, which we haven't gotten to that episode yet, But even when they tried to do that with Hazel, it's like, she died in an accident. It wasn't my fault. I'm Ozpin. Ooh.
Yeah, the only time they've been able to actually do moral ambiguity is completely by accident with Blake.
Yeah.
Because they think she's a good person, and she's not.
She ain't good.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we've all well, we'll get to that episode later where she labels everybody with one word, like the SJW that she is.
It's the truth.
Oh man,
Shitty Kitty strikes again.
I feel
Literally
like
strikes.
Go ahead.
I feel like if the 3 episodes leading into Rest and Resolutions were more intense, and then the next 3 episodes for that were also more intense, that
if they had actually had something in those episodes, maybe this.
But that's not at all what we had.
Yeah, you can't have a breather right after 3 episodes of nothing. Yeah.
What do we need in between 6 episodes of nothing? I know, even more nothing.
They sure need to relax after sitting around the house
doing jack shit.
Man, I really do wish they took our advice and had Team Ranger and all of them just go on a wild goose chase for the entire season. That would have been great.
Or my idea. I recently posted my idea for the rewrite there, where they basically just have like kind of a tune-in exam thing. Anyway, we'll talk about that in another video.
Okay, and after that whole Ozpin speech, we get to the introduction of the bad guys, the reintroduction of the bad guys in the bandit camp, with Watts there when he shouldn't be there.
Aren't you supposed to be giving
you
fucking
can
Tyrion
your way out of that one though?
That he already did it. He was just super quick about it.
Yeah.
His semblance is
still,
teleporting.
we should have saw
just
that.
Like Raven. Maybe his semblance is teleporting, just like Raven.
Semblances don't matter.
Because semblances are unique, except for when they aren't.
Yes.
So speaking of Watts, would the Stinger scene for this volume would have been better with just Watts getting off of a little plane. He's like, man, it sure is good to be home, as he like adjusts his like suit, and then it just cuts to black.
That would have been better.
Yeah.
That would have been better. What did we even get, actually? I don't fucking know.
The Stinger scene was tight.
It was Raven. Yeah, it was Raven and Ty.
Yeah, Raven quit so hard that she's becoming it, since she's gonna be a housewife again.
Great.
So the next episode on is Necessary Sacrifices, which I feel like is the most skippable episode. Like, it kind of no harm, no foul rule kind of applies to it, because it just kind of that was the first one that really just ran place and didn't accomplish anything.
Necessary Sacrifices was the one with Blake finding everyone in a single word.
Hey, we did
that's the one I want to talk about. Yeah,
I've ever seen.
We did have fish faunus in this one, so that was
that was like one of the few things I kind of liked about it. Also, like the concession stands, I was like, okay, that was kind of clever. Other than that, though, this episode was garbage. Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. It's like that's the stuff they concentrate on. Like I would much rather them forget those kind of things. Like those are extras. Those are extras that you can add when your story's actually good. But until your story's actually good, you can't add those things. And yes, and this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, the only character they have that's morally ambiguous is Blake, and it's entirely by accident, and it's so pathetic. And I just want to shake those two idiots. I felt like I was too nice the one time I asked them a question like, what do you think you guys can work on? They got super butthurt by that question, by the way, when I asked it at the panel.
Yeah.
And I can see why now, because, man, they really... The fact that they don't understand how wrong Blake is about her worldview is honestly shocking.
And this is also, she's completely contradicting herself. I talked about this in the last video. This whole defining people with one word is like... and defining someone as spiteful is a complete and total contradiction of the girl who in Volume 1 said, there is no such thing as pure evil. She is a fucking contradiction.
Actually autistic.
Holy crap, this thinking emoji is 840 terabytes large. Fuck. God damn it! That's the thinking emoji's too large.
Can't use.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The characters,
Yeah.
she's gotten dumber since the first volume, which is when they first started writing anything. That's that's pretty pathetic. All right, is there anything we can skip the rest of this episode, right? There's not really anything else to talk about, is there?
Yeah,
We've pretty much beaten this one. Yeah, this dead horse. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is another one
Mata,
that I was
the guy
very not
Son is
happy with.
talking to, he has ram horns, and so does his mom, but his brother doesn't. His brother has a foxtail.
Huh.
And if you know how faunus biology works,
Faunus
if two
traits
different
don't
faunas hook
matter.
up- if two different faunas hook up, their offspring will be completely random. So that means that it was just sheer luck that this guy and his mom have the same animal trait.
Cuckolding intensifies in the distance.
That's true. Yeah, you can't say to that's true. You can't say to your wife, "Hey, why does this kid not have your horns or not have my animal trait?" Well, because it's random.
Let's not get on a faunus and.
I hate faunus genetics so much.
Yeah, we don't want to get on this trick because
Anyway.
there was an episode, there was a podcast that Media and I did basically by ourselves where we just talked shit about World of Remnant for like 2 hours.
Nice.
Wait, well, also by the way, is Necessary Sacrifice the one with my least favorite scene in the entire show?
Which one? Oscar? Yes.
The one with Oscar and RWBY having.
Yeah, the one where Oscar. Yeah, the one where I've just realized how utterly pointless Oscar's whole. It's even more pointless than I realized his whole, I wanted to be more than a farm boy. That doesn't mean anything. Oh, you want to be more than a farm boy? Good, congratulations. You and every other teenager in the world. This does not add anything to his character. He is every other teenager. Every teenager wants to be more than what they are, you dumb shit.
So this whole conversation
He is
between
shitty Luke Skywalker.
between RWBY and Oscar, it drew parallels to me to the in the volume 3 where Pierre was asking Jaune, and Jaune gave the right answer, but he didn't know the context of it, and that's why he got slammed into a wall.
Yeah.
It honestly felt very similar. Oscar was fishing for an answer.
Except for that was a good scene. And this
True.
was a bad scene. Can
An understandable
I
misunderstanding.
just point out that, and I have to get on my high horse for just a little bit, and then I'll probably get on it back again later.
Timing you on it.
I called that Oscar was never going to be a good character. You're welcome. I was 100% right about that since the beginning. I was right that Blake was never going to become a better character after she went down, but I was completely right about that also. And I was also right that Ozpin is a sack of shit and is ruining the show, and he should have remained dead. You're welcome for that also. All of these things are very relevant. You'll notice in our top 3 or 4 worst episodes in the entire show. By the way, they're all Volume 5. So
There's a strange through line.
I just have to point out that I did call literally all of those things very early on that they were going to be issues. And I don't want to be right because I would rather like the show. But if I'm going to be right, if I'm going to call what makes the show terrible, then I'm going to take credit for it.
You should join Fat Man's Rubingo.
That sounds like a great idea. I would like to do that.
For Volume 6.
Give me the board and I will play.
And then the final scene in this train wreck of an episode is the one where Adam apparently mailed UPS grounded a flash drive with him giving a hologram rant on it. What?
Yeah. And then they replay it for some reason. Yeah. After they had just watched it. That was a good point.
Wait. They're like, well, it added a lot of tension, it added a lot of gravity to the time when genre played Pyrrhus Scroll. Maybe we should do that again with the Fabulous Fox Brothers and Adam. It'll have the same effect, we promise.
As Miles and or Carrie puts down their random Texas branded alcohol, they're like, "Wait, no, stop! We gotta play it for the audience because they won't know."
We can't be trusted to let them pick it up through context. What are you kidding?
The audience can't figure things out by themselves. They're too stupid.
That's probably if there's one way to sum up Miles and Carrie as why they're so bad at writing, it's that they think their audience is as stupid as they are.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, so speaking of Texas branded whiskey, okay, I promise I don't have a problem. Yellow Rose Distilling is amazing. I would highly recommend buying it the next time you go to your local Specs or liquor store if it's available.
I didn't know we were being sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Hashtag not sponsored. But if Yellow Rose wants to sponsor this podcast, they're more than welcome to.
I won't say no. All right, next is a perfect.
Finally, not a Volume 5 episode.
Yeah, right.
Now, next
A much needed talk.
I think is
Talk about someone taking a big steamy dump on your chest. Oh boy, the exposition was flowing this episode. As Crow drinks.
Hold on. We skipped a much. Are we talking about much needed talk?
Yeah,
Much needed talk. That's the next one.
Okay.
Well, because the perfect storm was also an exposition, a terrible.
My headphone. Yeah,
They're both horrible exposition dumps. We could knock this out at the same time.
My headphones.
Yeah.
My headphones added to a joke. Hey.
Two terrible exposition dumps delivered by Bronwyns that are contradictory, make no sense, and only serve to make the world more confusing and less interesting at the same time.
Yeah.
And also, Remnant has asshole gods.
Apparently.
Yeah, do.
Also, Blake
it
continues to treat
drags
Sun
on
like
so many
shit.
places.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, Blake continues to treat Sun like
there's so
shit.
many similarities between these two episodes. I didn't even realize.
I know.
Which one are we talking
You
about?
guys just rewrote the same episode! Wait, were they both episode 8?
Different because
No, one was episode 9. Oh. Perfect Storm was episode 9. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I swear
Yeah,
they
much
did
needed
that
talk.
just to piss me off because episode 8 always sucks, and and that was like my meme. But
Yeah.
they put the best episode of Volume 5 in episode 8 just to annoy me. It didn't have to be there. There was no reason for it to be there. It could have been 7. It could have been 9. It could have been 6. Like it had no correlation to the rest of the of the episodes around it. They just put it at 8 because they're afraid of me.
They somehow knew, like, oh, this is going to be our best episode. We better make it episode 8 just to spite Fat Man.
Oh god, I'm worried whenever I go to RTX this year and I get in line. It's like, oh hey, it's like I'm the moderator of the RWBY podcast, the premier podcast.
I don't think they
according
pay
to our
enough
viewership.
attention to their critics to know that they would be able to figure it out.
I'm worried some kid's gonna plot his CCW and shoot me in the fucking parking lot. But jokes on him, I'm also gonna be carrying too.
Hey, that would be awesome if somebody was all like, "Hey, aren't you the guys from the RWBY On podcast?" You're all like, "Yeah, tell Miles and Carrie to watch it."
We're coming for them. Yeah. So next is the more the merrier.
Oh god, I gotta fire
Yeah,
up.
after much needed talking on Perfect Storm.
Yeah, which were
Is
basically
the
the
more
same
the
episode but
merrier.
shittier. Yeah. Which
So the more the merrier is the
Oh.
messiest episode animation wise.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Which is why
It's
why
got
for
the
me,
worst
it's
animation
not-
in the entire series.
Which is why for me it's not as low as it is for everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Which
This-
I don't like disagree with everybody's logic. Like after watching Fat Man's video on on his rankings for Volume 5, I get it. I definitely get it.
Yeah, especially when Crow shoots at Raven. And then, like, not a minute later, he's like, we don't have to fight. Like, why?
you just
miss?
fucking shot at her, you douche.
This is no. This is just how we agreed. That was just a stun round. It was an electricity dust round.
Yeah.
That's how the Branowins
This-
always meet.
Do you greet your siblings this way?
Yeah, this
Like, yeah,
episode broke me as as like a Jaune fan, a hardcore, like a guy who, Jaune is his favorite character and stuff like that. This episode broke me as a Jaune fan because I was just like, oh my gosh, they really don't care about making him look strong at all, do they? Like,
Just
I don't know.
Rushes Cinder.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. One thing I thought about, but I'm not sure if I can get. I think I'm giving Miles and Carrie a little too much credit with this one. Is that I did notice that he would seem to only be swinging for Cinder's blind side, but I don't think I can give Miles and Carrie enough credit
No.
to have actually thought of that one.
The only thing worse than Jaune rushing
Cinder
Cinder
first they would have to show him swinging the sword, though.
Oh, I think the most important thing to remember is, Jaune, whatever you do, don't make it personal and be like, it's okay if I die. As long as the people around me survive, everything will be okay.
Oh my gosh, that was like the
proceeds to spear his one-time romantic interest, which is
his waifu.
Yeah, if White Knight becomes a thing.
By the way, nobody bought that cliffhanger. Nobody intelligent actually thought Weiss was going to die.
No.
I remember.
Don't kill my other girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, they're dumb, but I think even they know not to be so dumb to kill the only compelling character left in the show at this point. Because
assuming they can figure out who that which character is compelling, because they think it's Blake.
I know they think it's Blake, but it's actually Weiss.
Oh god.
And the only thing
nobody tell them. Don't make them focus on her and
That's
ruin
true.
it.
I've literally said that before. I think in a podcast. Don't let them know that Weiss is the best character, or else they'll fuck her up too.
Yeah.
I'm so worried about the next volume with Weiss. Oh man.
With them going.
I am too.
They're just going to ignore her again. I swear, they're just going to ignore her again. They're gonna make Blake. Like I talked about this in our last video. They're going to make Blake the main character, and they're just gonna make Jacques a stupid, retarded analogy for Trump. That's what they're gonna do.
But Ironwood's the one who closed the borders.
Yeah, but I mean, Dolan Bluff.
Maybe.
I mean, Jacques City is evil, guys.
But Ironwood is likable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I'm
no
betting
one
that
cannot-
Salem's going to be their analogy for Russia in that situation, even though I'm pretty sure that's been debunked like 20 ways to Sunday.
When you're trying to
Yeah, let's not get too political.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, sorry about that.
All right.
Anyway.
So next is.
I'm usually down to talk about politics, but yeah, we can't derail this
Not here.
any
Sorry.
more than we have to.
Let's go to Haven's fate then. That's
So
the next
after an entire episode where action is happening, but the camera decides to watch Lionheart watching the action, we get the volume finale, which is also just a bunch of people watching a little bit of action.
And basically just a bunch of like jump cuts, like every time a fight starts. I was recently talking to someone about another show, and they were talking about how in this show, we were comparing RWBY to another show. I think we were comparing it to Troll Hunters, and he was all like, every time a fight starts on Troll Hunters, they cut away from it. I'm all like, did you watch the same finale of Volume 5 that I did? Did you watch it? I don't think you did.
The whole last 4 episodes.
Yeah. Never mind. Like the whole last 4 episodes, just this episode. Yeah. Oh god.
I mean, Adam just Naruto runs into the woods.
Yeah.
And they just let him go.
They
didn't do anything after Blake knocked him out in the first, first episode.
Yeah, they basically.
Like, why was it like a whole bunch of White Fang? When I say White Fang, citizenry of Menagerie just like dogpile his ass, or like. Have the police officers taser his anus like super hard.
What's the point of him getting away when he's been nerfed into the ground? Why do they think? Because they think it's going to build tension. Oh, he got away. But who gives a fuck?
You just you just cut his dick off. Nobody cares that he can still run away.
Blake's gonna one punch him again the next time.
Irrelevant.
There's a part of me that I just want to see, as shitty as it sounds, is like they like, oh look, a grid portal just opened up, and then Adam jumps through it at the last moment, and then Salem's like, who is this person? Like, oh, it's Adam, and then Salem just like force chokes him like one of the fucking like Darth Vader in the,
like a moth,
the original series. Like one of the moths.
There's a few other little like things that they just don't understand. So one of the things I ranted about the most when we were talking about this is when Emerald produces her Salem illusion, and RWBY cowers like a little bitch when she's never cowered like a little bitch in her entire life.
Yeah.
She's one of the few people who knows that's just Emerald's semblance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is she ducking? Ugh. And then, of course, now, and it's kind of something happens in Downfall too, but it's to me it's even worse than Haven's phase. Like, oh, so now the cops show up and are relevant in this show. Great,
Yeah.
thanks. Like,
What was the line in
this
the
is-
Charles Hitchcock novels? Never call the cops because it's boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Because
now
that's
they do-
boring.
now they call the cops.
The cops is boring.
Yeah.
Because that's
Because
what we
it would
needed.
end all the.
And another thing that I find wonderful is, what's really fun is to read the Wikipedia descriptions for the RWBY episodes and see how blatantly inaccurate they can be at times. Because at one point it says, despite brief tension in Yang, also that's not English, Blake is welcomed back by RWBY as Ozpin directs them to make for Atlas. Where was that tension? Because I want that fucking tension.
We would love it if there was tension. Yeah, that brief pause of like, yeah, we're good. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. And fuck you.
That brief tension might have been referring to episode 8.
But it wasn't. It was written in the volume 14.
Yeah.
How funny is that the scene that we've all been complaining about for years where, where Blake and Yang's tension just disappears would be topped by this episode. Wow. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. By the way, who called Blake being let back in with no argument whatsoever?
You did.
That's right. That was me also. Yeah, I called that. It's really.
We all
easy.
hoped, but yeah,
It's
wouldn't.
really
But
easy
yeah.
to call these things because here's what I did. I've been doing this since volume 4. Think of the dumbest thing they could possibly do.
And then think of something dumber.
And then think of something dumber, and that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Be me in volume 4, end up predicting most of volume 4.
Yeah,
you
I've been
predicted
trying to
a
be
lot.
critically generous, but I've given up. I can't be critically generous with these guys anymore.
Yeah.
All right, so
They
next,
killed
or do we-
Lionheart, and that's it. But Weiss and Blake show up, and RWBY yells checkmate, and then they cut away.
But why? Why not show a cool combo attack?
Hey,
Yeah.
remember
Where's Monty
this
when
was
we
an action
need him?
show?
Dude, why aren't they
Yeah.
capitalizing off the popularity?
This
of
is
Dragon Ball
almost one of
Fighters?
those things where I almost think that like this might have actually been better with Monty around. Like, I mean, I think like despite how sorry that maybe that was worded poorly, but like it's sad
It
what
was
happened to
worded
Monty,
poorly.
but I do think that Volume 4 was better without him. That
Yeah.
being said, I think that some of these episodes might have been better with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to tell why Volume 4 was as good as it was.
Yeah,
I know,
looking
now
at
it
this,
feels like an
it's
anomaly.
weird. It's like,
Yeah,
wait, the same guys who wrote this? What the fuck?
yeah. Volume 4's key was its simplicity. That's literally
Yeah.
why it's.
And
so
honestly,
good.
it's probably partly, and who knows, maybe it's because, like, I don't know, they like, got a negative reaction to Volume 4, which was completely unjustified, and they said, okay, I guess we'll just do the exact opposite and see if that
Yeah.
fixes it, which it didn't.
Yeah.
No, you know how people complained about the characters not really doing.
Let's have them not do...
Let's have them do even less. Let's have them take.
Actually, yeah, that's true. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like they
Clever.
listened to all of the complaints and said, we're gonna do exactly that this volume.
Let's have them wait around.
I don't
even
know.
More.
I don't know how they
Even-
fucked up so bad. How the... Ugh. Anyway.
Okay, if this is turning into a Volume 5 rant, let's get to the next episode.
Well, it's going to turn into.
Oh god damn it! It's another Volume 5 episode. God
It
damn
was a bad volume.
It was a really bad volume.
Volume 5 haunts us like a jaded ex-girlfriend or
Oh
boyfriend.
gosh, we need to get away from it. Yeah. Anyway.
I know.
Known by its song.
Known by its
Bro
song.
shows up.
Yeah, let's
And
blast
he
it.
canvasses the town before looking at the fucking board.
Also, Raven's reason for resenting Ozpin is really, really stupid. It's like, oh, how dare he
Yes.
give you the ability to turn into a bird, the monster. What the actual fuck?
Literally be able to cross any border at any time and no one would ever be the wiser unless the one hunter's like, man, that bird doesn't look right. It's like, it's in season though. Gah!
Also, she can fly, which is like most people's dream superpower, mine included.
Yeah. And it's like,
I just
and
want to stand.
also, this episode has like the first example of actual racism because the guy has because of the sign on the door that says no faunus allowed, which rings completely false, though, when you realize that the headmaster of the academy, who I'm pretty sure has to be appointed by the council, by the people in charge, is a faunus.
He's appointed by Ozpin.
By Ozpin?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Ozpin is like a really, really shady bureaucrat.
Is Ozpin just the Rothschild Bank?
I don't know.
That's what he feels like.
I was gonna say George Soros.
Ozpin's just a powerless CT test send in each.
Also, yeah, this was a wasted opportunity to make Ozpin's like ineptitude into self-service. Like,
yeah,
like Raven. If Raven had said, like Raven's whole thing is basically like, oh yeah, he's fighting a pointless battle. This is why I like, as good as it would be if Ozpin turned out to just be like self-serving and selfish and just looking out for his own. Maybe not necessarily like the actual big bad, but a secondary villain to Salem. It might not be so, like, despite that, I don't think they are, because they keep passing up opportunities to, make him actually seem shady.
Oh, I think we're all forgetting the most egregious part of this episode, though, was this was the perfect opportunity for some Team Stark info, and like my bottle of wine that I finished, it's empty. There's nothing there.
Also,
the worst part about this episode was magic. No, that's impossible.
Have you seen what your fucking semblance is, Weiss? Yeah. Also,
Weiss has a fucking stand for a semblance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, and this is
speaking of magic and the maidens and all that. Who's hated the maidens 3 with a burning passion? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Me. Sorry, I'm still gonna call all those things because
I'm actually ashamed of myself for having like the maidens at first.
Yeah, we actually kind of argued with that at one point because he defended it a little bit, and I was like, no, the maidens are garbage and they're ruining the show.
They could have been okay, but nope, they keep ruining.
Nope.
Yeah.
What's the thing? Because and I don't. If they could, some of these things could have been implemented properly, but the thing is, you have to understand.
Miles and Carrie are not good writers.
Yes, they weren't going to be implemented properly. That's the entire problem.
Yeah.
I kind of want to bring this up because it is interesting. So on the ranking system, Media has it as a 45, Fat Man has it as a 57, Robert has it as a 53, and the Dude has it as a 48. And there's a slight trend appearing here from time to time on this chart that I feel is interesting.
Which is?
It seems that Robert and Fat Man and Robert generally tend to be within like a few points off of each other for a good chunk of this stuff. They're actually pretty far away. There are a few outliers, but for the most part, they're within the ballpark of each other.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at Fall right now because that's 55 for me, and everybody else put it in the 20s.
Huh.
like here we are talking about how shit the maidens are, but yet I'm the only one who put Fall in the bottom 10.
That's interesting.
The maidens for me are a special kind of like terrible, because I feel it's just like the absolute like most poorly implemented thing. They were literally like it's the equivalent of buying a turbocharger off of eBay and not reading the instruction manuals and just bolting it to your Honda Civic and expecting it to work properly.
And not upgrading the cooling system.
Yeah. So why is my car on fire? I don't know.
Yeah. There were.
Oh god,
that is interesting because there were a lot of things I did not like about Fall. Huh. Interesting.
And they're literally keys. The maidens are keys. They're not special. They're not important. They're just keys.
Well, they became keys this volume, and I get the feeling that they may or may not have been keys until this volume. But
yeah, because why else would Cinder not have the beacon relic?
Yeah, I am of. Well, how the fuck did Ozpin hide the relic?
Fine.
And it might just be that I hated a lot of other episodes a lot more than I hated Fall.
She didn't exist when she was there.
I feel like my cookie analogy for Volume 5 is perfect. Volume 5 is an underdone cookie where the crust is just perfectly and well done, and then you bite into the center and you're like, oh shit, this is raw cookie dough.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that sounds amazing.
We can get to Fall. We can get to
crispy crust around a raw cookie dough.
Actually, yeah, that actually sounds really good.
Yeah, that sounds really good. But Gordon Ramsay would curse your ass out of the kitchen though because of it though.
No, that would be more like a chicken. Like you got the outside is golden brown, but as soon as you get one fork in it, it's like, oh, that is just wrong.
It's rare. Gotta have that rare chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
That is some salmonella chicken.
Yes.
All right, what's next?
Vault of the Spring Maiden,
Next
of the
is
Spring Maiden.
Vault of the Spring Maiden.
which is
Raven and Cinder's bad voice actor.
Tolerable episode
Terrible
within the
voice.
Battle of Haven arc.
Yeah.
The battle of the bad voice actor.
The best pencil fight we have ever had in this entire series.
Oh jeez. Yeah, let's see here.
Yeah,
such a nothing episode.
Hazel's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hazel's a lot of fun.
If Hazel
At
was
first,
just-
in this one episode, and then it was all downhill from there.
This is how we fix Hazel. Hazel was Ozpin's brother. That's how you fix it. Hazel's butt mad because the hive mind changed his brother from the
Don't
person
know
that he was
about
to someone
that
else.
fixing it.
That's not gonna fix
I
it.
don't know.
That's not gonna.
And I
No,
just
that
and he,
would
would
be
be a
I think
thing,
that would do one hell of a lot of good because it would make
That's still
Oscar-
more compelling than what we got. So
It would
True.
make Oscar actively resist Ozpin's influence more.
Wait, but that would involve Oscar being active.
and being a character.
It would make Oscar do something.
But they just wouldn't do that though. That's not what Oscar is. Oscar's not a character.
He's just Ozpin's skin suit.
Yeah.
Yes.
oh, skin suit, please no.
That's what fucking Lionheart should have done when they were fighting. He should have been like,
Yeah.
"You don't trust Ozpin. He's a bad guy. We're the good guys. He's the bad." Like, try to instill doubt in the Oscar body instead of just being like, "Nope, we're the bad guys. I'm gonna kill a kid." That's dumb. That's dumb.
Yeah.
This whole story is dumb.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get out of Volume 5.
What was the thing that you talked about? How we could have this guy on the inside, or we could just announce that he's been working.
Yeah.
Well, I'm okay with them announcing it though, because I mean, they didn't expect any of them to come out of there alive, but I don't know. So that's why I'm kind of okay with it, but at the same time,
So you're just gonna write it off as normal villain monologuing bullshit.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all terrible.
Oh God, I'm so ashamed that.
Over and over and over.
It's one of.
I love that
Volume
edit
5
that Nemesis
episode.
Bloodreich made, where it's just that looped.
Oh God, it makes me sad that Hazel wasn't just a knockoff Senator Armstrong from Revengeance, Dusk's son.
Yeah.
All right, so next is finally we're not doing
Breach.
5
An
episodes.
episode I really hate.
Breach.
Yep.
Oh God.
Interestingly, media, I have it the lowest out of everybody here.
Huh.
Yeah, you're at a.
I have it
55
lower
on
than
that
media
one.
too.
This is one of my go-to episodes when I'm trash talking RWBY.
Oh God.
Team Coffee. Fuck Team Coffee.
Okay, so yeah, here's
That was
what
my
I've
first honest
realized
look.
recently.
Team Coffee.
Here's what I've realized recently. Team Coffee proves something. It doesn't matter. You don't need gravity-defying boobs and upskirts to be fan service. If you only exist to be FAP 2, you are fan service. Coco and Velvet are fan service. That's my rant.
Oh God, and I was intimately familiar with that episode because of my fan fiction, because that's literally the big inciting incident of the fan fiction that I've been working on. Ugh.
Yeah,
Oh,
all of the Beacon students
You're
should have
writing a
shown
breach
up.
thing.
oh no, it's getting bad. Ugh, I have to end it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here's what should have happened in Breach. Glinda should have just blocked off, instead of plugging the hole, she should have blocked off the entire block. Just made a wall. And then Team Coffee should have come down and only rescued Team RWBY and just left all of the citizens there.
And then
it would
have,
actually be a colossal failure.
Yeah.
and then have Atlas
Or-
They don't
napalm
look
the
like
entire
Arkham
city
City.
block.
Or just treat it like a colossal failure. Instead of saying nobody died, say people died, but we managed to get things plugged up. But show some news clippings where everybody is saying this Team RWBY totally screwed the pooch and fucked up. Address it as a failure. I don't know.
Yeah, the buck would stop at Ozpin because he's the one who didn't send any fucking huntsmen there. He's like, no, I'm just gonna like half-assedly send a student there to go and solve.
I'm gonna send students that aren't even listed as age appropriate for this mission.
Which I actually, so I don't know. I was actually a little bit like something that I kind of liked about the way, and maybe this is for like when we talk about the other episode where it actually occurs, but I was actually kind of okay with Ozpin not wanting to send in like Ironwood's army and stuff like that, and thinking that like Oobleck and the girls would be an appropriate measure.
Something to do for once.
Yeah, because he gave them something to do, and it was also a good, and like it was a no-win situation, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because if they sent in Ironwood's army, Roman would have seen them coming a mile away and, done basically the exact same thing, except for they wouldn't have been around. But instead, he but then Ozpin's plan didn't work out the way he wanted to. So like it was a no-win, which made the villains look like an actual threat, like an unstoppable force for these volumes. But like, I don't know. There's a lot of other like
it's the equivalent of sending the National Guard in whenever you need to send in SEAL Team 6.
Kind of, yeah. But I also, I don't know. I think my biggest issue with this episode is that like I think that Cinder's whole plan, and again, maybe I'm giving the writers too much credit and being smarter than they were. Maybe they didn't actually think about Cinder's plan, but I think that perhaps the plan was essentially to, make Ozpin look inept with this one and to make Atlas look strong so that Ironwood could bring in the rest of his army, have them patrol things so that they could be hacked and wreak havoc. But they don't make it look like that because Atlas does not look like the heroes here. Team Coffee looks like the heroes, and they shouldn't. But anyway.
Yeah, there's just all these problems.
Yeah.
And then don't forget, after the fight scene, you got that scene of Team RWBY being like, oh yeah, we did great. We don't have to...
Yeah, we did great. We did... Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, this fucking line here. Let's see now. Oh yeah.
The back.
Yeah, we did it. No, you fucking did it. Yeah. Well, I would say we should do some training, but I think we have that covered. You clearly do not!
Oh my... We watch Team Coffee work.
Yeah.
We'll just do what they did. Proceeds to get bodied by Emerald and Mercury in the tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts. I feel that we're on
to away from this one.
We're on to
an episode so bad that they had to retcon it away. Next episode is Menagerie.
Back to volume 4.
Back to volume 4, guys.
Blake.
Blake moved on, everyone.
Blake's entire character basically got butchered in this one episode. Yeah, definitely.
I didn't come here to fight. Who said I'm done fighting? Bitch, you!
You did! 2 episodes ago! You very much did. Yeah.
It's such a tragedy what happened to Vale. What do you mean? What happened to Vale? We weren't talking about that a second ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh no, the White Fager knocking on our door. We better greet them. Oh wait, no, was this the pizza that we ordered?
Look how crowded and terrible the city is, except for that it looks like an island paradise. There's not that many people there.
I mean, if it's a crowded, terrible city, there should be people like freebasing fucking heroin in the middle of the street.
They should actually.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
The only thing I liked about this episode was basically Sun, also Kelly and Gira. It's like that's why it's kind of higher for me, but like this episode just completely ruined Blake's character.
For all of the lewd that you spawned.
Yes.
Man, it's good stuff.
Who said it would have been kind of bad if Blake had parents that actually loved her and she wasn't justified in her attitude?
I think we all said that. You were not the only one that said that.
I kind of
Don't
take credit for
You can't take all the credit, man.
Yeah, Blake, who's basically
you guys got to check me at some point.
Blake, who is basically the princess of Menagerie. It's like,
Yeah.
it's been so difficult and tough for me. It's like, shut up.
Oh,
You
I'm
live
going
in
to
a
talk about
big-ass
when we get to
fucking
that
house.
episode. I will talk about that episode and all the bullshit that comes out of Blake's mouth. Anyway.
She
So-
uses
so
her real
my-
name. Like, she uses her real name. The same last name as the
Yeah, she doesn't use his fucking pseudonym! Oh my gosh!
Oh my god.
Hi, my name is Blake Belladonna. No relation to Gira Belladonna.
None of the
I'm not
leader
related.
of... Yeah. Former leader of the White Fang and current leader of Menagerie. I'm sure nobody's heard of him.
Do they not?
Not even
Do
White.
they not have an equivalent to Google?
Or like LinkedIn or something,
Yeah.
or Facebook.
Hey Blake, let's Google your last name. See figure out
Or
some of
the
its
internet.
etymology. Oh shit, no.
Because they study the Faunus War in Volume 1.
Wait,
And they weren't going to study like the aftermath with the
with Gira?
Yeah, with the White Fang and find out that hey, there was this guy called Gira Belladonna.
Hey, that's your name, human girl wearing bow.
And it says he had a daughter named Blake, who disappeared about 5 years ago. Fancy that!
It's like, actually, Gira Belladonna was Genghis Khanning around a lot too. So yeah, that's why I have his last name.
It could be. He could be my dad. Who knows? Who knows?
Wait. In this situation, is Blake basically Black Dynamite? Yo, a lot of cats have that name around here.
No, it's a shame I don't. I'm almost tempted to drive to the gas station to get some more beer.
I love that this episode managed to land right next to Breach, because my biggest problem with this episode was that Breach went from being what it was to being a big deal in Volume 3 to apparently having never happened in Volume 4.
Can I just point out, if we're basically done with this episode, which I think we are, can I point out the fact that we're only just now getting to Jaundice? That's really
I don't know.
embarrassing.
Oh wow.
I didn't even put Jaundice that low, did I? No,
Um,
I didn't even put Jaundice that low.
You
like-
put it at 56 out of 60.
Well, I put
That's
it-
me.
I put it at
That's me.
36.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, that's dude. Sorry.
46.
Oh yeah, you put it at 36, Fatman. Yeah, I put it at 44.
Jaundice wasn't really a big problem for me.
I
It was just boring.
it was boring. Also, I think like
It had break his legs in it. I'm like, whatever.
yeah. Also,
look, guys, it's the bullying arc that we have to have.
That's
Yeah.
exactly my point. Like, my point is, like, it's okay. The fact that we're talking about it like this, like, it wasn't really that bad, is the point
compared
of
to
what I'm
everything
saying right
else,
now.
yeah. This used to be
Compared
like the
to all
worst.
this other crap. This used to be the episode and the arc that we talked about when we talked about the shitty parts of RWBY.
Yeah.
And it's not anymore. Now it's just.
Now the biggest problem with it is that it treats Jaune like he's an idiot, even though he's supposed to be smart. That's the biggest problem with it. That's
Yeah.
compared to every other problem that we have with the show. Yeah.
I mean,
We're
even in
going-
Volume 1, I mean, this is not really a Jaundice problem. It's more or a Jaundice thing. It's more of a Foreverfall thing. But like, Cardin's not a bad leader. Cardin is the only team leader who actually has any leadership potential. Like,
Yes.
Seemingly, yeah. Or is at least
That
treated
feel when
with it.
Cardin somehow
Yeah,
manages
so-
to save the day in Volume 6, and the fandom just explodes.
Can we talk about how shitty Cardin's weapon is? I know we don't have time for that.
it's
Nah.
a mace.
It's
Yeah,
literally just
I
a
actually
mace.
kinda
It's a World of Warcraft mace in like that you got
Dust
in.
mace.
Jaundice also had the Jaune suicide joke where Pyrrha takes him up to the roof and he's like, I don't know, I'm not that desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It had its funny moments. And honestly,
Yeah.
well, at the time, I liked Jean's little speech about, like, you know, I'm tired of being, like, tired of being a lovable idiot speech, because I thought that was going to go somewhere at the time.
Oh yeah.
But nope.
Well,
Which lovable idiot speech? The one that he gave in Volume 1, the one that he gave in Volume 3, the one that he gave in Volume 4, or the one that he gave in Volume 5?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they've touched on that in every volume at this point.
all of them.
Kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just go to the next one then.
What is it? What is it?
No
Yeah.
breaks. Which is
Next one is
let's
no
not
breaks.
go to this one.
Hey, the fights look kind of pretty.
They do. The fights the fights they look pretty.
Yeah, but
Everything else is a train wreck.
Is this the one where Blake could have killed Torchwick and then doesn't?
Yes.
Yes.
yeah,
So
this is
we
the
also
one where
have-
joke about it in the
this is the
commentary.
one where they make a giant liar out of Yang, where like 3 episodes ago. Yeah.
Oh,
This is the one where they're like, we need to get to the front of the train. You guys, fuck off.
Yeah. Well, no, it's the one. Well, no, it's the one where they're all like, "Hey guys, go down below, stop the bombs." Hey, weren't we supposed to stop bombs?
Yeah. We need to get to the front of this train to stop it from crashing into the thing. But Monty made a bunch of animation that totally fucks up our script, and we didn't check before we printed this.
Yeah.
The Ruby's sitting there looking at the bomb. It's like, fuck, I should have slept off in bomb defusal class in EOD school. Oh, man. Hey, well, at least on the bright side,
Ruby
we did...
is the only one that does nothing.
Oh, God. At least on the bright side, we had Banesaw in this episode.
Banesaw, that's nice.
I think that's his fandom name. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my name for him.
Yeah, I think that's most of the fandom's name, or at least on Ruby Co's,
Well,
that's what his name is.
I think I was the first. Like, I had never heard anyone call him that until I started calling him that. So I'm gonna take credit for that one.
So, hey, I can't be the only one taking credit for stuff in this podcast. Somebody else has got to do it. So
We also need to consider that Torchwick was not expecting resistance, right? At the beginning of the episode, he's like, "What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Why is there someone here? There shouldn't be anyone here." And yet, the train that is going to explode is full of guns and people.
That they never use. Yeah.
Like he's preparing for like a fight, like an invasion.
Apparently, yeah. Why was he piling all that stuff on there? It's like, were they gonna help the Grand Wreck shit
onto
or something?
the parts
I don't
that
know.
exploded.
Yeah,
he's just practicing the age-old saying: expect, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Hope for the best.
Over prepare for the worst.
Certainly don't do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though you've prepared.
Yeah.
Like, the explosion happened, and he's like, I have no idea what's going on. This is weird. Why is there an explosion? Why are things exploding? And then they show up, and it's like, oh, fuck, maybe we should have, like...
Oh, could you go check on that? I'm busy being camp.
To be fair, he was very good at being camp. But...
He was very good at being camp. He was very good at being camp, let's be honest.
I'm probably going to use that line in the abridged.
Oh.
Check on that. I'm busy being camp.
Fat Man, I would be honored if you used that, to be honest. I will be absolutely honored.
That's a great line.
Thank you. And I will be honored if you use it, but don't worry, I will. All right, so next is True Colors, great, we're back to volume 5 again. Wonderful.
Which had 30 great seconds in it. The bad thing is it went past those 30 seconds.
Oh my fucking god, those 30 seconds.
Oh god.
Which, by the way, so for those of you who don't know what we're talking about when Blake manages to freeze Corsic and Fennec in place with basically their faces.
No, we're talking about the one where Elia has her inexplicable face turn.
That was in the perfect storm.
Oh, seriously?
That was in the perfect storm.
That was the
Oh my god!
We're talking about the one where Elia has her well, okay, maybe not inexplicable, but her completely unearned face turn.
The power of scissoring unites all.
Okay, we need to start out, because this episode starts out, remember, at the end of the previous episode, Oscar shows up, and he's like, Crow, Ozpin needs to talk to you. And then in this episode, we're sitting there quietly drinking tea, like not talking about anything. And then Crow's the one who starts the conversation.
Oh my god!
Did you want to talk to me or something? You know?
No. I just wanted to try out this new tea. We just picked it up at the HEB. It's great.
Ruby shows up and like apparently only asks like if the cane is a relic.
Yeah, it doesn't bother to ask, hey, what the fuck is up with my eyes? You haven't really explained that.
Hey, what happened to my mom?
Or that.
And then they get a phone call. They're sitting around, and then they get a phone call that's like, "Hey guys, plot next episode."
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like what. They don't even put that in what not to do books because you should already know.
Because you should.
Yeah.
And
they specifically say, "Hey, something's up with Lionheart," and they do nothing about it.
I know.
I don't trust that guy. Let's trust him.
Let's walk right into
y'all
it.
on your union guaranteed coffee and cigarette break, but I really need y'all to get to work for the next episode, guys.
Yeah.
Holy fuck! And then the fight scene happens, and that's really like the only good part about this episode is the gunchucks come out, and it's great. And there's actually like some canon that goes on after like Ilya's whip gets frozen.
There's some other little things like
the night
Ilya electrifying her whip.
Okay, I've explained this before. I know how night vision works. I've run around with military grade night vision. Just because you're black and you're standing against a black background, you might be a little bit difficult to see.
But she's not standing against a black background. She's standing against a light-colored background that is dark.
Yeah, she's standing against a brown background.
Yeah.
You don't lose your depth perception whenever you throw on the PVS 14.
Yeah.
You could make out that figure.
Yeah, it's true.
Or that lack of figure. Am I right? Sorry.
Ilya has no ass.
Flat ass.
No ass, no boobs, no anything.
Yeah, she sounds like a generic white chick.
And no reason to have a face turn.
Quoting the line of who's the uncle or the grandpa in the Boondocks? What's his name?
I don't know.
The grandpa's
I am so helpful.
I just want to find me a white chick with a flat booty and no tits that'll listen to my problems. As he's sitting there trying to date. God, I love the Boondocks. That's a good series.
See, when you say uncle, the only things I can think of are Becky,
Uncle Ruckus,
and one more thing, and T from Pyro from Avatar. Those are the only two uncles I can think of.
Okay, here's something else that happened in fucking episode 10. So they break through the wall, right? And then you see Corsican Fennec's weapons go flying out. And then Gira jumps through the hole. And then he gets stabbed in the back. Like, why do they have, like, extra weapons? Why are they carrying bonus weapons?
I mean...
Isn't that the thing where he is concerned for Blake for no reason whatsoever, even though she's winning the fight?
Yeah, she is winning that fight.
She was winning too well.
Ilya right now.
Blake, I'm not concerned that you're winning enough. You're only on top of her.
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, for interrupting your moment.
Blake, I thought you were dating Sun.
Good. You're back together with Ilya. I'll go somewhere else.
Oh God, I will say this.
Oh thank God, I can't stand Sun.
Gira tanks that stab like it is no one's business.
Yeah.
Oh.
At 924 or like 920 to 924 or whatever, is that like supposed to be that scene from My Hero Academia with All Might punching?
With them punching each other? I don't think so.
Maybe. Yeah. I know they were watching My Hero Academia while they were working on Volume 5.
I hope not, because My Hero Academia is too good for them.
I do know that.
We forgot to...
They probably got the idea from My Hero Academia, honestly.
We forgot to bring up how...
It's been done in other shows, too. Like
That's
Dragon
true.
Ball does it a lot.
Yeah.
We forgot to bring up how the initial release and the YouTube release parts of certain scenes have been changed.
Yeah, they changed it. They added a scene. They added a scene of Blake standing up and running out of frame, and then they just didn't put her in the rest of the shot anyway.
So, like, it didn't change anything?
It would have been better if she was just T-posing in the background.
Yeah, that's what they should have added.
Great job, George
The
Lucas.
cardboard dust cutout from our t-shirts. Why isn't that still a meme? Like they use all these like shitty new Rooster Teeth memes, but they don't use any of the good old ones.
Yeah.
And then fucking Fennec explodes.
For some reason, yeah. Like, was that his weapon that exploded? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a melee weapon. it's like his melee weapon explodes.
I mean, I think it had like fire in it or something. Yeah, no, I have that question too. Though, why does Fennec explode?
He picks up the wind sword. He doesn't even pick up the fire sword. He picks up the wind one.
Oh my
and
gosh, it makes no
explodes in a
sense.
fireball.
He dies in the most like Looney Tunes Wile E. Coyote
Dramatic way.
possible. Not only does like half of the freaking like whatever lands on his ass, it then blows up just for added effect. It's like, okay, some people are like, okay, he's probably like people are like, okay, yeah, he can survive that. Then he explodes. Like, okay, yeah, he definitely can't survive that.
Yeah.
That's the okay. I will give Miles and Carey like props to this. Whenever they actually kill off a character, they make it hyper obvious.
Kind of, yeah.
I suppose. I mean, is Cinder dead?
No,
I don't
Cinder's
know.
gonna be Cinder. Better be a tentacle eldritch grim monster by the end of this volume.
Oh yeah. That's a good idea.
Oh, also, Lionheart's little scene, he is wonderfully self-aware and he goes completely to waste. Anyway.
Yeah,
Which
that's
scene?
true.
Lionheart's talking with Raven and he's all like, hey, we're both admit it, we're both cowards, we're just doing this because we're scared, like, show some great, like, self-awareness and stuff like that, and a little bit of depth that goes completely to waste. Anyway.
Well, and the other problem with that is that it further ruins Ray's character of like, because we thought she was smart, we thought she was going to be interesting and clever, and then it's like she can't even be self-aware of that. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right, so next
Next
is oh yeah, new challenges. Finally, an episode from Volume 3.
Yeah. Is it?
Really?
This was
really
actually
Volume 3 the longest
My
we've done
least
this?
favorite episode for a while.
Is this our first Volume 3 episode?
Yep, it is.
Wow.
It
First
is.
And is
time
Volume 3 the wow?